Looking at the global stage, it seems as if the IDF is standing still, but in reality, the IDF is advancing at a dizzying pace in the southern Hamas stronghold city of Khan Yunis. This is the 115th day of the Hamas-Israel war, and I'm Yair Pinto, reporting to you from Israel. Please share this video and follow us on social media. Hamas often says that it is fighting Israel on behalf of the Palestinian people, but their actions tell a completely different story. It is evident that Hamas does not care about the Palestinian people at all, but only wants to use them as human shields to protect its terrorist personnel and operations. One way we see this is the shameless theft by Hamas of food, medical equipment, and other humanitarian aid that is meant for the people of Gaza. Another way it can be observed is the way Hamas terrorists use hospitals, kindergartens, and schools as a cover from which to fire on Israeli troops. I've seen this firsthand inside the Gaza Strip. However, this week the IDF discovered a new level of Hamas Depravity. A terror tunnel built by the terrorist group was found underneath the Bnei Suela cemetery in the heart of Khan Yunis. The tunnel contained the usual things we've come to expect to find in such places, including weapons and ammunition, sliding doors meant to be used in ambushes, and a few terrorists who decided to go down fighting instead of being captured alive. The IDF also found the office of the commander of the Eastern Battalion from the Khan Yunis Brigade, from where he directed the attack against the Israeli communities on October 7, alongside operations rooms and battalion combat management and bedrooms of senior officials of the Hamas terrorist organization. A great deal of operational material was found inside these offices, and it is currently being analyzed by the IDF intelligence. The picture all of these materials paints is coming into sharper focus every day, and future operations are already being planned based on this picture. The tunnel running underneath the Bnei Suela cemetery is about 1 kilometer long and runs at a depth of 20 meters underground. It is only one section of a massive underground network of tunnels that Hamas created in order to plan, train, and execute terror attacks against Israel. It is also meant to control their own Palestinian people, who they say they care about so much.
אנחנו נמצאים במרכז העיירה בני סואילה, פה ברצועת עזה, ממש מתחת לבית הקברות של בני סואילה, ואנחנו בעצם בפתח של מנהרה סינית של חמאס, שאנחנו הולכים להיכנס אליה, אפשר להתרשם ולראות, עוברת מתחת לכל מתחם בית הקברות. המתחם הזה הוא מתחם פוש של חמאס, מכאן מנהרה רחבה עם חדרים, עם חשמל, עם מים זורמים, עם כל התשתיות המאפשרות. המתחם הזה שכאן מאחוריי זה מתחם מטבח. המטבח הזה שאנחנו נמצאים בו כולל את כל התשתיות המאפשרות. אנחנו רואים מטבח רחב שבעצם אותם מחבלים ארורים תכננו להיות כאן שהייה ארוכה במהלך הלחימה, שתאפשר להם להיות פה מתחת לבית הקברות, עשרות מטרים מתחת לאדמה, ולאפשר לעצמם מרקם חיים. במרחב הזה שבו אנחנו נמצאים, אנחנו יודעים להגיד שבמבצע שומר החומות כאן ישבו הבכירים וניהלו בעצם את הלחימה. אנחנו הגענו למתחם הזה שנמצא מתחת לבית הקברות, אותו שימוש ציני במנהרה תחת בית קברות, בדיוק כמו אותו שימוש ציני של מנהרות ומתחמים מולכדים במסגדים, בבתי ספר, בגני ילדים.
At the end of the investigation, the tunnel was destroyed by the forces of the Yalam unit. No more acts of terrorism against Israelis or Palestinians will be planned, launched, or directed from this tunnel. Although Hamas is a franchise of a global organization called the Muslim Brotherhood, the truth is that these terrorists have no faith, and in my opinion, they don't have any God other than their pursuit of terrorism. They use lies and deceit to justify their actions, all of which are focused on conducting out acts of hatred and violence against whoever they define as their enemies. Can be Israel, can be other Palestinians and other Muslims who are not ready to join them in their terrorism. Anyone who does not want to live in a world defined by this cruelty, hateful, and destructive ideology should oppose them. Back to the news about the battles in West Khan Yunis. Israel's Air Force acted in direct support of the commandos on the ground in an attack on 2 buildings that were being used by terrorists to attack our forces. The battle was short and sharp, but at the end of it, several terrorists had been eliminated and a large cache of weapons and ammunition, as well as equipment used to manufacture rockets, was discovered inside the buildings and later on destroyed. Also in Khan Yunis, the fighters of the paratrooper brigade continued raids on targets and found weapons and military equipment inside the house of a Hamas terrorist. During this operation, the fighters identified and neutralized 4 terrorists who are perpetrating to attack our forces near the El Amal hospital. Other buildings in the area were also found and contained weapons and ammunition, which were destroyed so they couldn't be used against Israel in the future. To sum up, 4 Hamas battalions previously operated under the Khan Yunis brigade, and we can report that 2 of them have been dismantled, with an estimated total of over 2,000 terrorists in Khan Yunis taken off the battlefield, along with enormous stockpiles of weapons, ammunition, military equipment, and underground infrastructure. The IDF will continue these operations until the Hamas presence in Khan Yunis has been completely dismantled. Further north, in the center of the Gaza Strip, fighters of the Nahal Brigade's combat team, with support from armored units, engaged in several pitched battles, eliminating dozens of armed terrorists in the past day. Fighters of the 5th Brigade combat team also fought many engagements in the outskirts of Shati in the northern part of the Gaza Strip. During these battles, several new tunnel shafts were discovered and destroyed, along with large quantities of weapons and ammunition. Shifting the focus to another front in this war, the West Bank city of Jenin in northern Samaria has been a flashpoint of tensions for many months now. On Monday, a terrorist squad operating on the grounds of the Ivan Sina hospital in the city and under the leadership of wanted terrorist Muhammad Jalamana was confronted by undercover agents of the Shin Bet, backed by the IDF and border police units. The resulting firefight left 3 of the terrorists dead, and the plan they had to launch an attack against Israeli civilians was thwarted. Let me tell you a few things about this man, Muhammad Jalamana. First, he was 27 years old and has been living in the Jenin refugee camp for many years. He maintained contacts with the Hamas headquarters abroad and was even injured when a car bomb he was helping to prepare for an immediate attack against Israel exploded in his face. He was also involved in the transfer of weapons and ammunition to terrorist operatives in order to promote shooting attacks, and he was part of the group which planned attacks similar to the events of the October 7th, 2023 against Israel. But he won't be doing any of these things anymore, because during Monday's battle, he, along with 2 other terrorists who were part of the cell, were eliminated. But he was only one of many terrorists who use hospitals, schools, and other civilian infrastructure and the civilians themselves as shields to hide behind while perpetrating to conduct out military terrorist operations against Israel. They also use hostages as human shields. May I remind you that there are still 136 Israeli hostages inside the Gaza Strip. They are being used as human shields and kept in inhumane conditions. To those hostages and their families, I say, we will keep looking for them, we will not forget them, and we will not give up. Therefore, we ask all of you to join us in prayer for the soldiers, for the commanders, the government officials, and everyone who is working hard to ensure that Israelis can continue to live in their homes in Israel in security and peace. Please also pray for the truth to come out of Jerusalem and light this dark world. We need the world to know who we are fighting and why, so that they can join us in this battle before Hamas will spread to the rest of the world. And most importantly, please join us in prayer for the peace of Jerusalem.